Very good morning to you. Good afternoon, I'd say rather. And thank you for being with us on the broadcast. It is a tense situation, but given the kind of statements that are coming in from both sides, we'd like to understand from you. At one end, Netanyahu has said that we will harm them. On the other hand, the 5-member war cabinet that is to take a decision on Israel's next response to Iran. What can we expect?
Look, Israel, the Israeli government, the Israel Defense Forces will do all that it can and all that it needs to do to make sure that Israel and everybody living in Israel are safe and secure. And Iran's unprecedented attack, they launched over 300 UAVs, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and rockets at Israel, all timed to fall more or less at the same time, which makes their intent very clear. Iran's intent, they've been saying it for tens of years. They have terror proxies in our region who have been trying to do that, is first and foremost to kill Jews and Israelis, to destroy Israel, and to destabilize the whole Middle East. And, they've been doing it, as I said, through proxies from October 7th, a massacre, the Hamas terrorist massacre, who are also funded and trained by Iran. They've been, taking it a step forward, getting Hezbollah to get involved and shoot rockets at us. And now they're launching missiles at us and UAVs from their own territory. I think their intention is quite clear.
Right, Tani, Samiksha, this side, what would you want to say about the kind of stand that's been taken by the Western powers with that's coming from Russia and even China for that matter? Do you think the stand that's been taken by the United Nations, United Security Council at this stage could have been better or stronger, and US could have probably done more to de-escalate the tensions between Iran and Israel?
Look, Iran has been saying for years that it wants to destroy us. Iran has been working also for years on a nuclear program, let's not forget. And we have been trying to get the UN, international organizations, and the West to understand the real and true threats coming from the Iranian regime, I have to say. But the stand now, since the Iranian attack, one, let us not forget that our allies, including the United States, including Britain, including France and other allies, along with our, amazing aerial defense system, are what stopped this attack, are what made sure that the Iranian intent of causing damage, of killing people, did not occur. We have to be very clear. Iran's intent was to harm and kill and destroy. Our aerial defense system, our standing with our allies on the ground, managed to stop these rockets, these suicide bomber UAVs from entering Israeli airspace and from causing more harm. But, even with this saying we were able to manage the situation, let us not forget a 7-year-old Israeli Arab girl, her name is Amina, got critically injured, and she's fighting for her life now in hospital. Millions of Israelis and millions of people in Israel had to spend, hours and hours in bomb shelters because of this Iranian attack. It's the fact that we managed to stop it with our allies is amazing. But that wasn't the intent of Iran. The intent of Iran was the Iranian regime was to terrorize and was to cause harm. And they haven't changed this intent. We will have to see what to do. We're talking, as you yourself said, within the cabinet, with the heads of the Israeli defense, obviously, with our allies. But we must make it stop. And let us not forget again that Israel is still dealing with rockets from Hezbollah in the north from Lebanon and with the Hamas terrorist organization that not only massacred, raped, and tortured 1,200 of our people on October 7th, they kidnapped people, over 250, and they're still holding 133 people hostage in Gaza. We still need to get them out. That is still our main priority, and it's definitely on the top of our list.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it is indeed very difficult to what you're facing on every side, which is why I want to particularly talk to you about the United States. That has been a strong support system while they helped you counter the Iran attack, I also want to refer to the latest statement coming in from President Joe Biden, who said that the US will not take part in the counter-offensive against Iran. How is that to likely impact Israel's future course of action?
Look, Israel has never asked any country, even our closest and strongest ally, the United States, to have boots on the ground, to come and fight the fight with us. You know, we're fighting these terror organizations on our borders for years. We're currently, right now, we are speaking, we're fighting the Hamas terrorist organization, the Iranian proxy, and also the Iranian proxy in the north, Hezbollah. We've never asked for anybody to fight our fight. All we ask is the understanding that Israel has the right and the obligation to make sure that its citizens are safe and secure and are able to live in safety and security. And this is all we're asking now. Whatever we need to do, we will do. We're not asking anybody else to do it for us, but we just need the world to understand. You know, if they didn't understand after October 7th, after the continued rocket raids from Hezbollah and Hamas for the past 6 months, after this terror organization still holding Israelis hostages, and now Iran shooting at us directly from within Iran. The world needs to understand that terror is terror, and terror will not stop on its own. They're not rational, responsible players like Israel has proven to be again and again. These are terrorists, and we must stand united in order to stop them. And I can just need to mention, if it's okay, one more minute, another Iranian proxy are the Houthis in Iran, Houthis in Yemen, sorry, they're an Iranian proxy who have been, terrorizing ships and basically harming international trade routes now for the past few months. They've also destroyed some ships and kidnapped. And on Saturday, Iran itself overtook a Portuguese boat. And on that Portuguese boat, because it's an international trading route, there are 17 Indian sailors on it that are now being held by Iran. There are also 4 sailors from the Philippines, and there are other people on board. But look at what they are doing. It doesn't start and stop with Israel. They're terrorizing the region. They're terrorizing, other countries as well. And so we need to do what we have to do, but the world needs to stand together and allow us to try to stop this terror.
Right, that also brings us to a follow-up question. If Israel does plan to go ahead with that retaliatory strike, does Israel have those necessary munitions, for one? And also, what kind of support do you really expect on part of the US now that they have clearly made their stand out in the open that they are not going to back the counter-strike that Israel is planning to launch on Iran?
I think, if I'm correct, that the US said they will not join. But yeah. But listen, I think the U.S., as well as our other allies, have proven when push comes to shove, they are with Israel. And again, we saw it when all of them helped us, or many of them helped us stop these cruise missiles and ballistic missiles shot at us from Iran. We have to be thankful to our defense system, but also to our allies for making this horrendous attack not be horrendous, for limiting the damage to what it is. So they will be with us. That being said, Israel will do what it has to do to protect its citizens, to protect its borders, and to protect everybody within, same as any other country would do. I think all governments, whether it's the US or India or any country in Europe or, anywhere in the world, government's first and foremost obligation to the people living there, to its citizens, is to protect them.
Right. India has always stood strong with Israel when it comes to fighting terrorism, and that is the message that has been put out loud and clear. At the same time, also urging for dialogue and diplomacy. What and how would you define the scope for that, and how do you view your partnership with India in these testing times?
One, we've been very, very appreciative, of Prime Minister Modi's and the Indian government stance since October 7. The Indian government, but also the Indian people and everybody here has been very supportive and very understanding of our right, our need, our obligation to fight against these terrorists and to secure Israel and get back the hostages. And, we've been very appreciative of this message that hasn't wavered in all these months. And even now, Dr. Jaishankar, the Minister for External Affairs, held talks yesterday, both with the Israeli foreign minister and the Iranian foreign minister. India has a very interesting role in the region and globally, I think, where, it does have a relationship and is able to talk to many different sides here. And India has been very responsible so far. It has stood by Israel and our right to defend ourselves. It had also made sure to send humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza that Israel, India, and the whole world is worried about. The only people who don't care about the people of Gaza are the Hamas terrorists. And also when needed, they sent planes, Operation Ajay, to bring Indians who were in Israel back when needed, back home to India. So I think India is playing a very responsible role and, understands our rights to defend ourselves. But also, obviously, there is a role for diplomacy. India understands that. The U.S. understands that. Israel understands that. Every discussion, for example, that happened in Paris or in Cairo regarding the hostages, regarding the release of more hostages for a ceasefire, for more humanitarian, for release of prisoners held in Israel. Israel has gone to all these discussions. Israel has agreed again and again and again to the terms that the international players said in order to get a deal to free the hostages. The group who has said no again and again to the international community, to the other responsible players, is the terrorist group Hamas, not Israel. We have to be very clear about that. Israel has agreed each and every time to the terms listed.
All right, Tammy Ben, just one last question before we let you go. Very quickly, we understand that Hamas has proposed a new ceasefire deal. Does Israel really intend to look into it? Is there going to be a new ceasefire deal that would be agreed upon between Hamas and Israel in the coming days?
Look, the last ceasefire deal that was brokered in Cairo that I mentioned, Israel agreed to it in the middle of last week. And I'm not sure if Saturday or Sunday only, Hamas said that they're not accepting the deal. So if they put a new deal on the table, I'm sure it will be discussed these days. I have no idea what the deal is, and we'll see what it leads to. But if we look past and the last 5 attempts, if we are learning from this, Israel has agreed to the conditions put forth by Egypt, by the U.S., by other international players to end this. And Hamas has said no each and every time. I hope now that maybe something's changed. We can all pray that this time these terrorists will play with the be with the international community and release the hostages. And then I'm sure, as we saw at the other times, when they released hostages, we released prisoners and there was a ceasefire. So if they agree now, I'm sure we'll see the same results.
Right. Tammy, we want to thank you for joining us on our special broadcast. Of course, very difficult times that Israel is undergoing, but wishing you strength and resilience. On that note, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.